Hi, this is Yoga with Domini and I'm Domini. Today we're going to do a nice beginner's yoga class. It's going to be fairly gentle. You're going to need blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can use like a box set of DVDs or a big book. Think outside the box really. So we're going to get started on all fours in tabletop position for cat-cow. So, nice alignment, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. If your wrists are hurting at all, you can always come up onto your fists if that feels better. You can always use the blocks in a tabletop position. Just find a nice position for them where you can rest on them, and then you can rest like that if your wrists are really giving you aggro. But otherwise, I will put them over there and come into a nice normal tabletop position, and we'll get started in cat-cow. So a bit of spinal flexion and extension. So we're just going to dip our belly down and lift our gaze up, and I usually breathe in here and then breathe out as I curve my spine up towards the ceiling and tuck my chin to my chest. So I like to breathe in here because this is a nice heart opening one. So my chest is opening, my shoulders are coming back. Try not to dip into your shoulders, so letting your shoulders sort of shrug up, keep them nice and sort of away from your ears. And you're just doing that in your own time, at your own pace. Just warming up the spine. We're getting the hips and the shoulders in there as well. Numerous different parts being warmed up here. And then come back to a normal, neutral tabletop. I'm going to come down onto my belly and just do a little cobra. So hands underneath shoulders and just breathing in as I lift my shoulders off the mat. Gaze down at the mat and then breathe out as I come back down. Just 2 more of those. And then back into a child's pose. Keep your legs together for this one, because we're not staying here very long. If it is a bit uncomfortable, you can always open your legs a little bit. Stretching out your arms as well. You should feel this stretch in your shoulders. And then we're going to come into a cobra. So rocking forward into a nice high cobra. Bend your elbows just a little bit. You don't want to really be hiking up. You want, again, your shoulders away from your ears, so you're hunched like this. Keep integrity and everything. Keep your core engaged, pushing your, sort of tucking your tailbone under, so you're protecting your lower back. And then back into that child's pose. Now I usually breathe out here and then breathe in as I come into that high cobra, and then breathe out. Breathe in. Try not to really like bend and dump all your weight into that lower back. Keep a bit of integrity there. And back into child's pose. This time you can do wide-legged if you wanted to. So it's whatever variation of it you want to do. So you can have your big toes together, knees out nice and wide, pushing your bum towards your heels. When you're stationary in a child's pose like this, you can always bring something underneath your bum. So behind the back of the knees there, or a lot of my clients like to have something like a blanket or some pillows over the back of their ankles, and then they bring their bum down because they can't get down so far, some of them. So having something there for your bum to then rest on here is great. If you can get it all the way down, wonderful. And then just come up onto your forearms, and we're just rocking backwards and forwards in this child's pose. So really push back and then lean forward. So your head is sort of coming over your fists here, and then back, and just make sure you're breathing. So usually, again, I breathe out here, then in here. We're just warming up some stuff, and this is a really good go-to for me if I'm stressed out, or if I'm angry or anxious or depressed even. I really love this child's pose rock motion. It's one of my favourites. And then back up into a tabletop position. Okay. We're going to bring the right leg up to the top of the mat for a low lunge. So if you can just do that in one motion, that's fine. If you can't, just bring your leg up as far as you can get it, and you can toe heel it in, or you can lift it up and bring it to the top. It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you're not hurting yourself, as long as you get there. And we're just going to stay in this low lunge for a minute. Nice deep breaths in and out. And you can pulse here a little bit if you want to, and rock a bit back and forth. You can sway a little bit, wriggle around, just get some movement going if that feels good. If not, you can stay stationary, that's fine. Take a nice deep breath in, and on your exhale, plant your left hand, bring your right hand up. So you're planting the hand that's opposite to the leg you've got forward, and then you're twisting towards that front leg. And release, and then we're going to take a nice deep breath in. And on that exhale, just bring your hips back for a half split. So this front leg doesn't have to be straight. Just straighten it as much as it can go, where you can feel that stretch along the back of your leg there. Pointing the toes up to the sky. Try to keep your hips squared to the front of the mat, so don't let them like stagger, basically. And if you wobble, that's absolutely fine, that happens. It's getting a nice stretch in that front leg there. And then back into that low lunge. Back into tabletop, and then other leg to the top of the mat. So I'm bringing my left leg up to the top of the mat this time, in between my hands, just getting a nice low lunge. Nice deep breath in. And out. Take a nice deep breath in, and on your exhale, plant your right hand, or you can come up onto your fingertips if that helps. You can also use your blocks here, actually, if you want to bring the floor up for you. That might feel easier to do this twist. If you need to do that, that's fine. And back down. Take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, do that half splits on this side. You should feel a really nice stretch up the back of that leg, especially up the back of your thigh here. And by us flexing our toes up to the ceiling, it's a little bit of an active stretch, so you're activating that hamstring and then trying to stretch it. You can always let your toe point and do it that way as well, if the flexing doesn't feel too good. We'll just move between the two. Back into that low lunge. Back into tabletop. And then we're going to go into downward facing dog. So from this tabletop, just walk your hands a couple of inches out more in front of you. Tuck your toes under. Bring your bum back towards your heels. And then up towards the sky. And it's your torso, your arms and your torso that you're trying to lengthen out. So you're trying to bring your belly towards your thighs. Really lengthen that upper body. Doesn't matter if you have a bend in your legs, and your heels do not have to touch the floor or the mat. It's your upper body that you're lengthening back. And if you're trying to straighten your back legs as much as you can, they're not going to be straight. Some people can do it, some people can't. And trying to push your heels towards the floor, then you'll still get a stretch in that back, in the back of those legs. But they don't have to be straight, and you don't have to have your heels on the floor, because otherwise you'll be like this. Instead of like this. Okay, and walk your way up to the top of the mat towards your hands. Just hang out here for a sec, just let everything hang heavy. And again, this is your forward fold, so again you want your belly to go towards your thighs. You can have a bend in your knees. Probably should have a bend in your knees. And then just let your body hang heavy over the top. And then roll up one vertebrae at a time. Head should be the last thing to come up. Okay. From this mountain pose, so mountain pose would be feet about hip width apart, holding that core in nice and engaged, so glutes engaged as well, tucking the tailbone under, hands at your side, palms shining forward if that feels good, or you can have them turned in. Nice deep breath in, arms above your head. And as we breathe out, we're going to go into warrior one. So I'm going to do this on my left side first, because that's the side that's on your side, so you'll see it easier. So arms above head, left foot back. We're lunging into this front leg, toes are pointed forward. Do not let your knee collapse in, keep it in line with your toes. Back leg will be straight, toes pointing at a diagonal across the room. So they're kind of halfway between being pointed to the left there and pointed forward, about halfway between the two. You want to try and square your hips as much as you can, so don't really let them stagger like this, because that's not what warrior one is about. Try and keep them pointed towards the front, so this front knee and foot. If there's a slight stagger in them, that's absolutely fine. If you start really trying to push this hip towards the front and you start to feel it in your knee, stop. But another good way of doing this is bringing this foot out a little bit more this way. Gives you a bit more space, and then hopefully you can square your hips a little bit more. But don't worry about it too much if you've got a bit of a stagger in your hips. It's not a massive problem. Arms should be above our head, shoulders away from our ears, lunging into that front leg. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, and as we breathe out, we're transitioning into warrior two. So you're just basically keeping this front leg where it is, pivoting that left foot round so it's pointed more to the left, keeping this back leg straight, keeping your torso nice and straight. So we're not collapsing into this front leg or hunching over. Everything's all straight, good posture, arms out. Now this is where you're going to need your blocks. So you can come out of that for a second, just grab it and put it next to your ankle on the highest setting. So the lowest would be that, second highest. So you want it on the highest setting. Back into your warrior two. Take a nice deep breath in. Straighten that front leg, and as you breathe out, just push your arm, so this front arm towards that wall in front of you. So your front body is sort of leaning over this leg, and then bring that arm down to the top of that block. A bit like a windmill, you're sort of windmilling the arm, or like a seesaw. This arm comes down, this one comes up. Keeping that body open, so don't hunch down into this like this. Keep your shoulder open, chest open. Arm up when you can look up, or there, wherever's good for your neck. Make sure you're breathing. You can have a little micro bend in this front leg as well. You don't need it to be completely sort of straight. We're going into extended side angle, so you can keep your hand where it is if you want to, the hand that's on the block, and we're just going to bend that front leg like a lunge. What might feel better though is if you bring this arm on top of your leg and lean on it like that, but don't collapse in. Again, keep everything up and nice. No collapsing into anything. This arm comes above your head. But if that doesn't feel good, you can always keep it there, or you can put it there if you need to. Again, it's your practice, do whatever you need to do, so find what works for you. As long as you're following my alignment cues, anything else you can sort of switch around. So if you're thinking, that really doesn't feel very good, don't force yourself to stay in it, because that's what I'm telling you to do. Bring your arm up. If that still doesn't feel good, bring it there. And then we're going to go into a low lunge, so we can get rid of that and come down into a low lunge, unless of course you would feel better using the blocks in this low lunge, which you can have on whichever setting you want really. But sometimes that's a good way of doing low lunge. It just means that you're not coming down so far this way. You can really push your chest out, especially for heart opening sequences. If you're working on the heart chakra or anything like that, using the blocks here to bring yourself a little bit more upright definitely works. We're going to need the blocks here now, so if you don't have them here already, if your hands are on the floor, get your blocks and put them here, just next to your foot, so about next to your ankle again on either side. Come up onto that back foot, so bring the knee off the mat. Bring that foot in just a couple of feet's length, I suppose, towards your upper foot, top foot. And then have both legs straight, and you're just leaning over the first one, I guess, trying to keep your back straight. So again, no hunching, no sort of collapsing into the shoulders. Keep everything good, and the word I'm trying to look for is integrity in your posture everywhere. If you need a little bit of a bend in this front leg, if it's hurting, then you can do that, absolutely. But otherwise, keep it nice and straight. Little micro bending, it's fine. And then we're going to go into a wide-legged forward fold. So you can absolutely bring the blocks with you if you want to. Facing the long edge of your mat, you might want to widen your feet a little bit more, toes pointed forward. And then you can go into your forward fold. So trying to keep the weight distributed evenly between on your feet, so between the heel of your feet and the balls of your feet and your toes and stuff. Just try and keep that evenly distributed. You can have a little bend in your knees or a big bend, whatever you need to do is absolutely fine. And if you're happy staying here, you can stay here. If you want to come down a little bit more, you can come down a little bit more. If you want to come down a little bit more and you still need the blocks, that's fine. If you don't need the blocks, just bring them away and let everything hang heavy. So your upper body, your head, everything's just hanging here, chilling. Nice deep breaths in and out. And then just make your way back to the top of the mat for a forward fold. Just bring those blocks with you to the top so you've got them from the other side. And we're in a forward fold. And just again, bend your knees as much as you need. Let everything hang heavy. Nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Head should be the last thing to come up. Mountain pose. We'll do that on the other side. So you might now just want to bring your blocks over to your other side so that you've got them there. I'm just going to turn this way so you're not just looking at the back of me, you can see the front of me, because I'm going to be doing the right leg now. So a nice deep breath in. And as we breathe out, warrior one. That's it. So you're lunging into this front leg, knee over ankle if possible. Back leg will be straight, toes at a diagonal. You're tucking that tailbone under, holding the core nice and tight. Arms above your head, shoulders away from your ears. Torso pointing towards that front leg as much as possible. Remember, you can bring this leg out a little bit if that helps. Warrior two. We're going to go into the triangle pose. So just get one of your blocks, bring it next to your ankle, come back into that warrior two. Straighten your front leg as you breathe in. Breathe out and just bring your torso over, so lean it over towards this front hand, and then seesaw or windmill, however you want to think of it. The arms, this arm down, this arm up. Chest open. And looking wherever you want to look, wherever's comfortable for your neck. Into extended side angle. So you can keep this hand here on the block if you want to and just bend into this front leg. You might want to just shift it slightly. Or you can bring this arm on top of this leg and then this arm comes up and over. Again, try not to just flop it over or crunch it up right over near your ear. Just keep that shoulder down, arm over. And then we're going to go into that low lunge. So into your low lunge. Again, you can use the blocks here if you need to, if that feels good for you. If you don't have the blocks there, you're going to want to get them now because we're going into that pyramid pose. So we're bringing the back knee off the mat, bringing the back leg in, just a couple of whatever your feet length is, I suppose. So 1, 2, and then nice flat back. Again, you're not sort of twisting the hips in this, staying in line with each other. So if you were, to get a ruler and put it along there, it's not going to be perfectly straight, but you get what I mean. This hip isn't pushing back, it's trying to be more in line with this hip. Okay, and then we're going to be going into that wide-legged forward fold again, so just pivot in around to face the long edge of your mat. Widen your feet a little bit more, pointing your toes forward. You can absolutely have a bend in the leg if you want to, legs, and then forward fold. And back to the top of the mat for a forward fold. Legs more together, so about hip width apart. We're going to go straight into a downward facing dog. So bring your hands to the mat, walk your feet back into that down dog. Remember, pushing your torso towards your legs. You can have a bend in your legs, heels don't have to touch the mat. And bring your knees down. We're going to go into a child's pose. So you can do this wide-legged if you wanted to. Knees open about as wide as the mat, maybe wider even. It's entirely up to you, whatever feels good for you. Or you can have your knees together or wherever in between. Bum towards your heels and then walk your hands out. Forehead to the mat. Remember what I said earlier about being able to put something under your bum there? That might feel way better for people who have tight legs, tight hips. A lot of my clients, it's their it's behind their knees that feels bad when they try and bring it all the way down. They can't bring it all the way down. So having something there or there for your bum to then lean on is extremely beneficial. We're going to stay low, but we're just walking our hands over towards the right. So you're getting a little bit of a side stretch in this child's pose. On your next inhale, walk your hands back to centre, and then exhale, walk them over to the left. Inhale back to centre. We're going to do a thread the needle in this pose. So just come up onto your left hand, bring your right arm under the left arm, and then bring your right side of your head to the mat. This arm can stay up here, it can be here. You can do a little bit of a bind if you want to and bring it to try and reach your fingers towards your right hip crease. They might not get there, but that's where they're intending to go. So it's entirely up to you. I feel like doing this today because that's given me a nice stretch up the side of this body as well. Inhale to centre, exhale to the other side. So left arm under right, and just do whatever you did on the other side on this side. Inhale back to centre. And we'll make our way onto our backs. We're just going to do a twist. So if you straighten your left leg, bring your right knee in towards your chest. Take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, just bring your right knee over towards the left. Try and keep your right shoulder on the mat. So it doesn't matter how far over your knee goes, your right knee goes, as long as your right shoulder is still on the mat. Arms can be out to the side. And you can be looking over towards your right hand, or you can be looking up, wherever feels good for you. But don't try and force this knee further than what it's going to be, and then bring this, what it wants to do basically, and bring this shoulder off. That's not the intention of this pose. That's not going to do you much good at all. So like I said, even if your knee's here, if that's as far as you can go, that's absolutely fine. Just keep this shoulder on the mat and just push this knee over as far as you can get it, comfortably get it without this shoulder coming off. Make sure you can breathe in the pose. Nice deep breaths in and out. On your next inhale, come back to centre. Switch legs. So bring your left knee in, right leg straight. Nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, just bring your left leg over towards the right. Left arm out, trying to keep that left shoulder on the mat. So just bringing this left knee over as far as it will go comfortably with your left shoulder still being on the mat. And this should feel amazing in your body. You're getting a really nice twist here, not just in the spine, but your whole torso, your sort of insides are being massaged in this twist. It's amazing. Getting a good shoulder stretch here as well, because you're trying to keep the shoulder down on the mat. It's a really, really good pose, this one. I love this one. And then inhale back to centre. And we're just going to finish in a supported bridge pose. So I want you to get one of your blocks. You're probably going to want it on the lowest setting, just under your bum. It's about where your tailbone is. You want it there. You can have it on the lowest setting like this if you want to. Sometimes it's nice to have it on the second highest one. Depends on your flexibility or what feels good for you. But you're just letting it all just relax onto the block. And we're just chilling out here. So taking some nice breaths in through your nose, feeling your belly expand. And then exhaling and feeling it collapse back in. I'm just going to change the second to the lowest one now. And you can relax here for as long as you want to. This is where I'll leave you. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.